everyone, and welcome to another review from Colour with Claire. So today we're looking at Winsor & Newton coloured pencils. So these are actually a fairly recent release. Winsor & Newton are probably best known for their range of alcohol markers, the Pro marker and the brush marker, and also their watercolour line. So if you're into watercolour painting, you will have definitely heard the name Winsor & Newton. And here are their watercolour pens. So you can see that all their packaging comes in this beautiful silver metal tin, and the pencils are no different. So you can see we've got a set of 24 here. It says they're soft, thick core colour pencils. We'll take off this little sleeve, and it says on the back that they're premium artist quality, highly pigmented, brilliant colours with a rich laydown and colour saturation with excellent light fastness. So I'll talk about that in a bit more depth later on. So 24 colours, lovely sturdy storage tin. And then here are the pencils themselves. So obviously I've been using them to test and colour with them, so that's why they're a bit shorter than they would be when you receive them. But the pencils themselves are really, really lovely to look at. They're very minimalist, really sort of clean looking, understated. They've got all grey barrels, so it's like a really nice cool grey, and then the ends are dipped. And the barrels are kind of matte finish, a very, very slight gloss, but the whole way across is kind of matte. Usually with coloured pencils, you'll find they have glossy dipped ends, but not here. You can see that we've got the Winsor & Newton name in silver embossed print, and then the name of the pencil. This one's Carmine, and that's all the information that's on the pencil. By the way, if you have spotted these little indents, that's nothing to do with the pencils. That's where I put them in my mechanical sharpener and it kind of grips the wood, so don't worry about that. So we've got 24 pencils here. There's also a set of 12 available. I'm going to take off the top layer so that you can see all the different colours. They're all named. There's no numbers to this, but you can do your chart with the names, so it's easy to find out which colour you need to pick. We've got names like caramel, burnt sienna, grass, olive green, azure. We've got ice grey 3, plum, orange, rose pink, pastel pink as well. So some nice little names there, nothing too outlandish. They have a 7mm barrel and a 3.7mm core, so really nice and strong. I found when sharpening these that they hold a point really, really well. They're not very crumbly, although they are very soft, which is kind of a happy medium. So I would say that these aren't quite as soft as Prismacolor, nothing really ever is, but they are definitely a soft core pencil. So if you're looking for a hardcore pencil, these aren't what you're looking for, but definitely very soft. And I do agree with what it said on the back of the sleeve. They are extremely saturated, very, very high in, excuse me, very, very high in pigment content. So really, really rich colours. As for the light fast ratings, it says on that sleeve that they are highly light fast, but I haven't been able to find any information either on the sleeve, on the pencil, or on the internet about the testing that's been done on these pencils for them to make the claim of them being excellent with their light fast properties. So really, these are marketed as a professional pencil, but really without those sort of in-depth, very intensive testing results that we look for in light fast pencils, I would say that they are student grade pencils. So I don't really feel comfortable saying artist grade when we don't have those extensive light fast results. But hopefully if they come out with those, I can update this review. You can just check the description if you come back to this later on and see if anything's changed. So let's have a look at my testing sheet. As you know, with coloured pencils, I like to do a little bit of testing to see how they perform. So here we have got my little test sheet. Now, this is all 24 of the colours. There is a white, you won't be able to see that obviously. And this is a really, really light laydown. In fact, I'll just do a bit for you now so you can see. This is me colouring lightly. Now just look at all the pigment that comes off that pencil with just one light application. And obviously if you go a bit heavier, you get even more richness to that. And then, you know, really, really heavy to fully burnish it. But you can just see from, you know, doing a very light pressured layer, just how rich and intense these colours are. They really are packed with pigment. So if that's something you're looking for, if you want a kind of alternative to Prismacolors, even though they're not as soft, definitely these would fall into that category. So all of the colours here, as you can see in the 24 set, we've got quite a few dark blues, we've got a few different greens. I really like this teal sort of aqua green colour. We've also got the Ice Grey 3, which is a really, really nice, very cool grey. And then we've got a few different browns. Really like this green gold. You don't often see that in smaller tins of pencils. Really, really strong black as well. And yeah, I'm really pleased with the colour selection. I think that these two kind of reds here are slightly too similar, maybe the same with the oranges as well. But, you know, maybe if they do bring out a larger set or expand on the colours in any way, they will rectify that. So next up is my opacity and transparency test. So I've done exactly the same thing here. I've taken all 24 colours, but I've swatched them out onto black paper. So this shows you the opacity of the pencils and obviously the pigment strength. So as you can see, they are very, very opaque pencils. They are not transparent in the slightest. So as I've mentioned, packed with pigment, packed with colour, and they show up really, really well on black paper, which that demonstrates. So very, very good in that sense. Go up now for the next bit, which is, we'll start off with the layers. So I took one of the purple pencils, I think it was the plum, and I started off by layering different amounts of layers of pencil. So you can see this is one light layer. Then we've got 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 before it finally maxed out and completely burnished, so that the wax was completely saturated, not saturated, burnished, and you couldn't get any more layers on top of that. So it takes 6 layers to max out the pencil, so to speak. I'm using mixed media paper here, so it's quite toothy and it picks up the pencil quite nicely, and you are kind of able to create layers better with the paper that you use. So it also depends. If you watch coloured pencil reviews and they tell you how many layers and things that you can do with the pencils, you always have to also take into account the kind of paper that they're using. Because if you're using a very, very smooth paper stock, you're not going to be able to layer much at all. You do need that bit of tooth there for the pencils to grab onto. So layers 6. Now for erasing and smudging, really, really impressive for a wax-based pencil. So you can see the erasing at the top, I used a battery powered eraser, and they erased pretty much, you know, 90-95% of the pigment off the paper, which is very, very impressive, as I say, for a wax pencil. Usually with pencils like Prismacolor, you can't erase them very well at all because they're very, very waxy, but these seem to erase very well. Underneath we've got the smudge test, which again, very impressive. You can see with a light layer, a medium layer and a fully kind of burnished heavy pressure layer, there is not much smudging whatsoever, and that is when I was really sort of smudging across it with my finger. So if you're sort of brushing with the side of your hand, very bad habit like I do, you won't have any problems with the smudging. They don't give off a lot of dust or crumble very much at all, so you'll be fine there. Next up, we've got the blending. So I do like to blend with lots of different mediums just to test how they react. Now my favourite is always the 2 pencil blend, because I think the least things that you have to add to the pigment, the better, the more saturated and, you know, vibrant colour that you're going to get. So 2 pencil blend absolutely beautifully, these pencils. Blended with the white from the set, you can see that they've gone kind of milky, and I'm just thinking at the moment, because I have an overhead light, and sometimes I do these reviews and the light shines and bounces back off the wax, so I don't know whether that's actually showing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just tilt it like this so you can see it a bit better. So blending with white here, yes, it looks a little bit milky, it's washed out the colour, but it is nice and soft and smooth, I guess. Then we've got the blending pencil. Now the one I used for this was the Caran d'Ache blending, I'm not sure what this is called actually, it's the full blender. So I used that and it blended quite well. It's still kind of left a little bit of speckly kind of marks on there, so not my first choice. Then the Odorless Mineral Spirits, which I use this Spectrum Noir brand. Again, quite well. It definitely melted the wax in the pencil, which is what they're supposed to do. The pigment did blend together nicely, but again, I can't ever compare anything really to the 2 pencil blend. That always stands up the most in my reviews. Then we've got the alcohol blender, which was absolutely rubbish. As you can see, it has sort of skated across the top of the wax and just left a rather weird speckly pattern on top. We've then got the blue and yellow mix test. So that's just me mixing up the blue and the yellow from the set and seeing if they do create the green. But as I've said, these pencils aren't very translucent. They are quite opaque. So even though we do have a nice little swatch of green here, I wouldn't say that they are great for layering and making new colours on top. They're probably not the best for that. And then finally we have the price. So they're really reasonably priced, especially for such high quantity of pigment, because that really is kind of what makes up the price of a pencil. You'll find with very cheap pencils they don't have a lot of pigment in whatsoever, and they are mostly binder, so wax or oil, usually wax. And you don't really get a high concentration of colour on the page. With these pencils, they're reasonably priced and they're also very rich in the pigment. So really good value in that way. So for the 12 pack, you're looking at £13.49 and the 24 pack, £26.99. That's current prices as of today on cultpens.com. Now, Cult Pens do offer free UK delivery over £15. So if you do get the 24 pack, you'll get free delivery as well. And they do ship worldwide. I've had a look on the internet and it seems like these pencils are a little bit difficult to get hold of. They're not kind of freely available over the different colour pencil sites and shopping sites and things. So if you do live overseas, whether that's Europe or America, anywhere in the world, Cult Pens will send them to you from the UK. So you can get hold of them wherever you are. So finally, I'll just show you a coloured picture that I have done with these pencils. This is from the colouring book Puppies. It's a Polish colouring book by Barbara somebody, I can't pronounce the name, but it's a beautiful book. And you can see here the picture that I've coloured with the Winsor and Newton. So I've purposefully kept it quite light and sort of rough on some areas. So I wanted to keep the texture of the dog, and then sort of blended and burnished like on the apples in other places. So I really enjoyed doing this page. The pencils are a joy to work with. As I've said, you can't do as many layers as maybe the more expensive and professional coloured pencils, but for most colourists these will do just fine. And as I say, the biggest draw is just all of that rich, beautiful, vibrant pigment that you're getting. So all the links will be in the description for you to go ahead and buy these pencils if you wish to do that. And I really would love to know what you think. So leave me comments below, and if you do have these pencils, let me know what you think of them. If you're going to get them, let me know. Do give a thumbs up to the video if you have the chance, please, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. By the way, these pencils also have a watercolour counterpart, so if you're looking for the watercolour version of these exact pencils, they're also on Cult Pens. So thank you very much everybody for watching, and I will see you soon on Colour with Claire.